The trade deadline for the 2024 MLB season has just wrapped up, and I'm going to be doing my takes on winners and losers. We're going to separate this into two videos, AL and NL. This will be the AL winners and losers for the trade deadline. Let's start with the winners. And a big winner for the MLB, for the AL, is the best team in the AL probably right now. That's not what the odds say, but it's the Baltimore Orioles. Plus 600 right now. The New York Yankees are still ahead of them, but they're definitely a winner here. Zach Eflin was the first get. They needed an arm. I'm surprised they didn't grab another arm. That's my one critique. I'm surprised they didn't grab another starting pitcher arm. But they get Zach Eflin, who just led them to a win today. It's solid. It's solid. I think it's better than like a Kikuchi, who I thought they were going to grab. So that's a guy I didn't know that was going to be up for sale, even though the Rays got rid of everybody. We'll talk about that in a bit. It's a good get. They got the whole Phillies bullpen. I mean, the heart and soul of that Phillies bullpen last year. And Soto and Sir Anthony Dominguez. Now they add Kimbrel. They have the whole Phillies bullpen. Didn't work out for the Phillies last year. Hopefully it works out for the Orioles, who had a bullpen last year that was not great outside of Cano and Batista. Batista obviously went down. Hopefully it works out for them. I think it's a good get. They went out and then got Trevor Rogers as well, the bolster bullpen. That was a good move. Didn't know he was up for sale. That was a good move. Spent a lot, though. I'm not going to sit here and say they didn't spend a lot. That Connor Norby and Kyle Stowers, that's two big prospects in that organization. They spent for a guy in Trevor Rogers. They're almost all in, almost shoving. It's two big guys. I guess they thought Connor Norby will never really start. We got Holiday. He'll never really start for this team. They got rid of him. I don't hate it, but I think it's a lot for a guy in Trevor Rogers. I think they could have picked up like an AJ Puck with it too if maybe they were quicker. I don't know. Eloy Jimenez, scratching my head a little bit on that one. I don't love the fit. I know you got rid of Austin Hayes. You had to replace him maybe. I don't like it. I don't love it. They didn't give up that much for it. It was a last-minute deadline kind of acquisition. Hopefully it works out. I don't love it, but I think the Orioles did the best in the AL. They added pitching was not the strong suit, and they got 4 good arms, 4 solid arms. That can win you a World Series, and it might win them a World Series. Second winner, I think a sneaky winner. Just they didn't do too much. They stayed in their lane and they got enough. And I think that's the Cleveland Guardians. Lane Thomas fits that team like a glove. He's going to bat second. He batted second today. He can steal bases. He can drive the ball down the line. That's all they needed on a team. That's that type of team they are. It's a good get for them. And then Alex Cobb to bolster an already great rotation. He hasn't thrown a pitch yet, but Cobb's solid. That could be, if that's your 4 guy, that's your 5 guy, that's a solid get for the Guardians. And you know what? They didn't try to do too much. They stayed in their lane. They stayed to who they are. They got enough to push them over the edge. Yankees. See, the Yankees kind of got an on-par thing with the Guardians. Jazz Chisholm, Mark Leiter Jr. both performed very well today. Jazz has been on fire. But it's the New York Yankees. If this was the Cleveland Guardians, this would be a great deadline. It's the New York Yankees. It's a little disappointing if I'm a New York Yankees fan, which I am. It's a little disappointing. I thought they would grab more, maybe in India, maybe a McMahon. Weirdly, 2 teams in the Reds and Rockies that didn't really sell anybody at all. Should have got more. They didn't. Hopefully it's enough. Good team. Last team of my winners. I think this is the second best. You could argue this is top 3 best deadlines out of every team. It's the Seattle Mariners. Justin Turner, Randy Arozarena. Just made a video about Arozarena yesterday. 2 great gets for them. 2 great gets for them. Those are good bats. Those are veteran bats that could really, you put them back on a team that's in it to win it. They could pop off any moment. They could bat 300 for a stretch. They could bat 300 for a 16-game season, hit 4 home runs each, play like the best 2 players in the world. They could do it. That's 2 great gets. And they paid a little bit much for a Yimi Garcia bullpen piece, but the Mariners what I think the Mariners did well is they gave up pieces too and got pieces back. They gave up Ty France. They gave up Ryan Stanek and got pieces back. Their strengths. They gave up some of their strengths and got pieces back. I like that for them. They didn't give up too much of the future. I think it's a sneaky good deadline for the Mariners. Losers, I got one team in the losers, and that's the Houston Astros. What the hell was that? What was that, Houston? I'm asking, what was that? It's been questionable now after questionable decision here by the Astros. They gave Jose Abreu all that money. Look where he is now. They gave Josh Hader all that money. It's not looking too good. Now you give Yasubi Kikuchi. They gave the Blue Jays a bag. Three prospects for a guy that was not great, who's never really been elite ever in his career. The Dodgers paid less for Jack Flaherty than the Astros did for Yusui Kikuchi. I just want that to sit there and stir for a second. That's wild. That's actually crazy. They also had Caleb Ferguson from the Yankees. That's kind of, like a whatever deal. So I think he'll pitch in the postseason if they're down by 5 runs. You know what I mean? It's just left-handed pitching in the bullpen. But terrible. I thought they were going to get a big bat. They needed it. They needed a first baseman. I thought maybe they did try and get it, but it didn't work out. Now 3 teams. I have one team in the sneaky, no one's going to talk about it good deadline. And I think they're a scary team moving forward. They can upset a team. They can be this year's Diamondbacks. That is the Boston Red Sox. And I hate to say it as a Yankees fan, but you add Dansby Jansen. That's good depth at the catcher position. They arguably have a really good 1-2 now in Wong and Jansen. That's a solid get up. And then they got James Paxton, who helps the rotation that was outside of Crawford was struggling, right? 3 bullpen pieces. 3. Sims, Garcia, and Priester. Priester from the Pirates. Bullpen was not a strength. They addressed it. They got 3 guys. Good for them. They're gonna try with that. This team right now for the Red Sox reminds me a lot of some of their World Series teams, where they're like no one expected them to win, and then all of a sudden they're there. They're like a team to be reckoned with in the playoffs, and they're right there in the World Series, and they're winning it. And I hate to say that. There's a Yankees picture right there, and I think they did a sneaky good job. Just want to talk about the Rays, who dumped everyone. I'm shocked. Are you guys shocked the Rays dumped as many people as they did? I thought they were going to make some moves, but not that many moves. They dumped a lot of guys. And then what even more confusing is they added Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals. They're obviously restarting. They added Christopher Famel. They added Dylan Carlson. Those are young guys that they think they could do well with, and that's the Rays' forte, man. They did it with Tommy Pham for like a second. They did it with Austin Meadows for like a second. They got those guys. They had them during their peak performance, their best they've ever played, and then they got rid of them. They did it with Chris Archer. They're still getting guys for Chris Archer. How they keep doing this, I don't know. The front office is great there. If only they had money, they'd be an elite team. Team I'm shocked didn't do more, the Oakland A's. Oakland A's only gave up Paul Blackburn, I think, today. They only gave up Paul Blackburn. Shocked they didn't give up Brent Rooker. I guess they're in love with that guy. They didn't give him up. And they didn't give up a guy like Miguel Andujar. I'm shocked more teams didn't call about. He's having a sneaky good season. And they could probably, the most they ever would get from him is probably right now in this moment. And they opted not to. So I'm a little shocked by that. So that's my recap for the deadline. Winners and losers. A couple teams in the middle there. NL video coming out next. I'm Josh Wissing.